Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute and I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to talk to you all the One Piece people, myself included. I miss talking about One Piece. I'm a One Piece person and I want to talk about One Piece. So I'm so excited to talk to you about this incredible manga series entitled One Piece, in case you're new. I am at the Alabasta arc. So if you are new here, then hi, welcome. My name is Shelly and I read manga, among other things. This is one of the videos in which I am documenting my journey through the One Piece world. One Piece is a manga that is over 1,000 chapters, and I am right at like 15% through the journey. So we have a long way to go. I hope you're here for the ride. If you are, I would encourage you to subscribe and stick around. I also have a Patreon if you want to join that. And without any further rambling on, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. I'm so glad that y'all really loved my singing about Chopper. I really enjoyed that. I have like a full-length version that I need to like actually muster up the courage to record and then put it out in the world. You know, it's because the beginning of the song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it's, you know, now there's Blixen and ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, you know, you have to start off, it has to start off with now there's Luffy and Nami and Usopp and Zoro. But see, I know that I'm out of tune there. So anyways, it was just so much fun and your response was really great. The beginning of every video about a new arc is always catching up on the last arc. You know, I really enjoyed that last arc, and I've just been really enjoying this series. So actually, let's just jump into Alabasta. So what's interesting is at the beginning of Alabasta, you have these people who are essentially worshiping. They are like heart eyes, star eyes, super excited. They're really into. You come to find out Sir Crocodile, who is one of the 7 warlords of the sea. I had all these pages of notes. I was like taking fastidious notes, and then I left my notes in a place that I'm not going back to today, and I feel like filming now. So they're like, oh, our savior, basically. Like, they're just all googly-eyed, impassioned about Sir Crocodile. And then we get him, we finally see him, which is, you know, Oda's so good at being like, here's somebody you should know. I'm gonna hint you to them. I'm gonna show you the side of their face. I'm gonna show you a little bit of their voice. Like, I'm gonna show you that you want to meet this person. And then when we actually meet them, you know, it's kind of like, it's this wonderful build-up. It's this wonderful build-up to actually meeting somebody. And I really love that suspense, and he's good at it. It's enjoyable. And so we finally meet Sir Crocodile, and of course he gets his own, you know, his own character page, which is great. I've actually been more into drawing lately. I've been doing a ton of drawing. Maybe that's why I've been reading a little bit less manga lately. I don't know. I've been drawing a lot, and I really ought to recreate some of Oda. Like, I should use Oda as inspiration because I actually really love the character. Not just... like, there's one part of me that loves the Cuckoo's Bananas Crazy, fun, off-the-rails characters. Like, just the totally bizarre like characters, like Mr. 3, with his little candelabra hair as my hair gets pushed hither and thither and yon. But I just also love, like, the wildness of some of the characters. They're so bizarre. But then I also just love that... you know, when you create a character in a manga series, in a graphic novel, even a children's picture book, you have to be able to manipulate that character. And the human eye, you can tell when something's off. Yeah, you can, if you have something, like a hand is reaching out, like I am to you, proportionally, often the human eye can catch. I mean, you may not be able to articulate it. I may not be able to articulate what's off about something, but one can often tell if something is trying to show depict something in their writing or in their drawings, and if that goes awry, the human eye, because we spend a lot of our days seeing, if we are seeing people, and so we can often tell that there's something off or wrong about it. As I have mentioned, I do love the wildness of some of the characters, but I also just love the way that the characters, like the way he manipulates the characters, the way they move, the way they fight, the way they get excited, their expressions. I love that side of the characters as well. And so because he's such a, I think, character forward or character thinking creative person, Oda is, at least that's my assumption, that, you know, on the one hand, he does the full length, you know, page of someone, and that's really exciting because you get to see his creativity of what they look like and what they're carrying, and the back, you know, you start to wonder about their backstory on one hand, and then just the total, like, sometimes the cuckoo's bananas crazy is off the rails, just creativity of Oda himself. And then you get into like actually getting to know them and seeing their movements and just how spot on he is when it comes to just getting, like, I have tried to get characters to walk and by my goodness, it is difficult. I am not that I was an art major or anything, but just consistently getting a character that is recognizable to walk down the street on multiple, you know, different pages or different panels. It is a feat, y'all. It is a feat. And so I'm just impressed on so many levels about, you know, Oda's talents. And so we finally meet, as I was trying to say, Sir Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. And he's got this scar across the face. Now, I will tell you, my first instinct was that he was somehow related to Arlong, and that he had like a hooked nose or something. Like he just had this saw nose. Maybe he got it removed. Like he has a slice across his face and got this nose removed, and now he has like a normal nose face thing, or normal, like what we perceive as normal, less shark-like, you know. So I thought that was interesting. But anyways, regardless, he's got this, you know, Sir Crocodile has this scar across his face. We don't know what that's all about. He also has a hook, which I'm sure is perhaps nodding to Captain Hook from Peter Pan, because Captain Hook's hand was eaten by a crocodile, and that's one of Hook's fears, is the crocodile. Like, he's so scared of it because his hand was eaten, you know, he no longer has a hand because of a crocodile. So I'm wondering if like the name Sir Crocodile and the hook hand is a nod to J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan. So I don't know, but still a cool design, you know. And I always feel like there's this nod to just old-timey days with the scarf, you know, the scarf around the men's necks and their waistcoats and things like that. So loved that. Then we also talk about Baroque Works and the way that Baroque Works works. And you have this whole chart. I love charts, y'all. I love charts. I remember reading Harry Potter books, and he would get his wish list of like what he's supposed to get for school, right? And it was always just great. Like, I always wanted to know what Harry needed to pick up at Diagon Alley before school semester started. I was such a nerd like that. I like lists. I like reading lists. One of my favorite memories in college was deconstructing why we write a list. Ah, I love that. Okay, so we're going to stop. And so, you know, it's talking about Mr. Zero, Mr. One, and Miss Doublefinger, and Miss All Sunday, and it shows you. And you kind of get this sense that Baroque Works is extensive. They've got tons of people working for them, and it's a whole thing. Oh, also, is it Captain Smoker? Yeah, I think it is. I left my notes. I wrote his name down. Captain Smoker is back, and he's like on the trail. You know, he's a Marine. He's like against the pirates. I like seeing him. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of like seeing an old friend. Weirdly, I felt that way about Buggy. I should not love Buggy the way that I love Buggy, and I shouldn't like Mr. Smoker person guy the way that I like him, but I like him. So the guy with 2 cigars, he is often insightful. I think he brings a really interesting perspective to it all. So Tashigi, she says that Vivi is working with pirates, and they're kind of taken aback by that because, you know, she shouldn't be. And then, you know, he's got something, you know, sort of like pirates. And then Tashigi mentions that Sir Crocodile is working for the government now. Captain Smoker, he says that, you know, remember, well, one, he doesn't really believe that it's a sincere bond or contract between Sir Crocodile and the government, that Sir Crocodile might be up to something on his own. But then he also says, once a pirate, always a pirate. And, you know, it just shows that mindset. I think in a lot of ways, the bad guys are people who are the ones that we don't tend to love as much. Like, we may have a fondness, but we don't love them. I don't know if that's true. Sometimes it's very revealing when someone has a very closed mind in this story. And even saying something like, once a pirate, always a pirate, it's a closed offness. It's something that you're not open to the world in a certain way. And that's really sad. And so I thought it was interesting, because you could say that about, you know, Luffy and Zoro, although they're really kind of changing what it means to be a pirate. I don't know. I wonder if we're going to see a change later on. Okay, so then, oh my goodness. So then we see Ace, and he's sitting by himself, and we figure out who Ace is, okay? Ace, oh my gosh. We find out that Ace is Luffy's brother. What? I mean, and it's so great. And it's not bro, as in like, what's up, bruh, or something. That makes me sound crazy saying that. I sound wild. But it's not like, how's it going, bruh? And they're not really brothers. They're actual brothers, okay? Ace and Luffy are brothers, and I love that. And then he mentions, what is it? He mentions, Whitebeard. He said, do you want to join Whitebeard's captain crew? And I was like, who's this Whitebeard? And I was like, we just get a resolution, Oda, and then we're right back. We're right back to questions. And it's not frustrating. It's just, it's Oda being Oda, I guess, and I'll just have to accept it. But I was like, well, then who's this Whitebeard? Do we know Whitebeard? You know, you never really know. And so Ace invites Luffy to join Whitebeard's crew, and everyone can come. All the Straw Hats can come, and Luffy says no. He sails off, and it's, you know, kind of neat that Ace also has, what does he have? He has devil fruit powers, but they're like the flame fruit, so he can like throw fireballs. The fruit thing, it never fails to just be really awesome and fun to see where Oda's creativity is going to go next. Wapol was one of my favorites. You know, he was great. And then next we have the Baroque Works. They're coming together. I think it was like Mr. 11 was stuck on the ship, and one of the lower Baroque Works person, they encounter one of the higher ups of Baroque, I think it was Mr. 11, who was sitting there all tied up. And what was kind of, I missed stuff. Oh my gosh, I know I missed stuff. I'll say this and then I'll go back to what I was thinking. Y'all know it's frenetic pacing over here for me. Like, I'm just sometimes all over the place. So Mr. 11 was tied up. I think it was Mr. 11. Yes, I am right. He was all tied up, and he sees some of the lower of Baroque Works people. You know, and he's like, save me, untie me. And one of the lower Baroque Works persons was like, yeah, but if we kill you, we're going to open up a space for one of us to move up. And I was like, that is so cutthroat. That is so not how Luffy would operate. And I was like, it just kind of shows like the values of Baroque Works and just how icky it is. Also, now that I had a plan the whole time. I'm sticking with Baroque Works. So we have Mr. Bon Clay. He doesn't have a female partner, but what's interesting is that he has like the clone fruit, I think. And so he can actually take on like the movements. He can take on the exact appearance and mannerisms of whomever he wants, essentially. And that was interesting because he's also like a gender fluid character, and he's very odd looking. He looks like a mime in a way, and maybe it is a nod to like that performance art. But as this person, you know, he can like basically infiltrate anyone because he can take on this identity of pretty much anyone. And then, you know, you see the Straw Hats work together because then they realize that if they tie a band around their arm, that will be their identifying feature if Mr. Bon Clay ever tries to clone one of the straw hats. And so I thought that was cool and interesting. And again, like, I don't know, it's in some ways it nods to the tropes of fantasy, you know, a double, you know, but instead it's that somebody has a clone fruit power and can be a double to one of the crew members. And I hope that that theme gets played with more because it's just really exciting. We also see the Baroque Works come together at I think it was at a coffee shop. We meet Mrs. Merry Christmas and Mr. Four. Again, just like great character designs. Ms. Merry Christmas is fantastic because she's got these like square glasses and these like sunflower pants, and she's wearing a tie that's polka dotted, and her hair is all wild and gorgeous and crazy, and I love that. And then we also meet Pola, which is the proprietor of Spider's Cafe, which is where everyone's meeting. But Pola is also one of the secret agents as well. And I really liked her. She's glasses, she's got a scarf in her hair, looks like a greenery on her shirt. And I don't know, like, maybe it's because I like meeting new people at times. Maybe not always in my real life, but I do like meeting new people. And so it's like when you're meeting all these new characters, it is a really fun experience. Oh, going back to Mr. Bon Clay, he said, "This world is made for men and women, but when you're me, you're a man and a woman." So again, it's like this nod to this gender fluidity. They're all meeting up at the Spider's Cafe. And then, I don't know, I think everybody is riding in Bunchy, who is the special all-terrain transport turtle for Baroque Works. And I was like, yes. Bunchy, again, one of the things that I just absolutely adore about Oda's creativity is that he says in one of the SBSs that he loves to draw animals. And I like that about this world, these oversized animals. There was like a sea cat, and Princess Vivi was like, "You can't eat it," because the Straw Hat crew is like starving to death. And she's like, "Because it's sacred." But I just love that he adds it in. It's there. It's part of the world. And it's just fantastic. Oh, and also very shortly on the heels of Bunchy. Mr. Crocodile sends out running lizards for an urgent delivery. And I was just like, again, the creativity, the fun, it's like infused with it all. And I love it so much. So now they're traveling on foot to Alabasta, and they encounter, they're in the deserts, and they're realizing that the rain hasn't fallen in 3 years, and it's just terrible. They also get their supplies stolen, which, I don't know, it makes me laugh. It's like people preying on the kindness of others, which I think is also a theme. And now we're getting almost like, not a Wild West feel, but like, Arabian Nights feel. Like we're in these sand deserts and they're traveling and there's no water. Water is very precious. They meet a camel along the way, and Vivi calls him, eyelashes. And so Vivi gets to ride on the camel, and that's really great. One of the reasons why it's so dry, according to Princess Vivi, is that it was all Sir Crocodile's scheme, because there was this dance powder that was ordered, and the dance powder creates rain. And so with the rain, you get all of the benefits of a rainy area, especially when it might be incredibly dry. But one of the side effects of the rain is that it's basically stealing water from other places in order for it to rain where the dance powder has fallen. And so the other areas become incredibly dry, and that's a problem. And so Vivi says it's part of Sir Crocodile's scheme. And so then she meets, so they're traveling, they meet somebody that Vivi knows, and then of course we get a cool backstory. And the backstory is that she grew up, or she knows of this chief, like this little kid who was like the leader of them all. So Koza, I don't know if he challenges her to a fight, but basically Koza and Vivi fight for power, and Vivi loses. He's kind of a outspoken young man, but anyways, he ends up winning the fight with Vivi. And they end up forming a bond. She's like second in command, and they call him the chief, and it's just great. And then at one point, and I loved that they realized Vivi at a young age stands up for her friends, which is just a great valuable thing to have, standing up for your friends. And then amid that, even when they're fighting and they're like, the Koza and Vivi are forming a friendship, what happens is that sand pirates come out and they want to hurt Vivi for ransom. And you know who stands up for her? Koza does. And he saves her life. And so he means a lot to her. So I really love that. And then he's like, I'll lay down my life for you. I would die for you. And Vivi's so sweet. Her heart is so beautiful and so full. And she was like, I don't want you guys to die for me. Which is just, it's so sweet. Oh my gosh. And ultimately they go their separate ways, Koza and Vivi. And then we realize, so that was Vivi's backstory. Then we realize that Koza is the leader of the rebels. So there is, in Alabasta, we know that there is political unrest. And now I'm like, what role does Koza play in it all? And what will he think when he finally sees his childhood friend, this person that he loves so much, Vivi, eventually? When he sees her. I'm sure they'll come together and they're going to see each other. At least I hope so. So that is chapter 100 all the way through. It was chapter 155 to 165. I haven't started 165 yet. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm loving it. It's so great. I hope, thank you all for your patience, and I hope you all are, enjoying this, and I will check in soon. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I just stopped at chapter 178 per the advice of one of you all, and my chest is tight. I cannot right now. But now I'm trying to go back in, because what happens is I read on my iPad and then I screenshot things that I have thoughts about. It's very haphazard. I very rarely write notes. I wrote notes because I had some time. I wrote notes for the previous clip or whatever, but I usually don't keep detailed notes about things. I just don't. It's very, as you know, higgly-piggly and off the cuff. Oh wait, I don't have my mic plugged in. Oh my gosh. I hope that works. I hope the sound is okay. Okay, so what I can't remember is, but I think I did talk about the fact that the rebel army leader is a childhood friend of Princess Vivi's, and they've even fought each other and got into scraps, and he really cares about her, and Sir Crocodile is very concerned about Princess Vivi and her childhood friend, not getting to know one another, but he's very concerned that they will meet. And he has even stuck up for Vivi, and his dad was the man in the desert who would never give up digging a well. I'm pretty sure I talked about all of that, but the backstory was great, and it laid the foundation of their friendship. And then basically what happens, at least structurally in the story, is that things are starting to heat up. The rebels are going to attack the kingdom because the king has been, I think, stealing water. So anyways, so they're coming. Baroque Works is about to shake things up, and basically it's going to be bloodshed. It's not going to be good. And according to Sir Crocodile, he says this is going to be a utopia. I think, what does he say? I forget. It's his plan, right? The Alabasta utopia or something like that. Meanwhile, as all of this is starting to go down, a couple of our friends get captured. So the Straw Hats are captured. Captain Smoker is captured. And they're in this cage. And that is really where Sir Crocodile can start to monologue, and he does that villain thing where he's talking about his plans, and it took me forever to figure out exactly what Sir Crocodile's devil fruit power is, which is I think sand power, but basically he can create a sandstorm for himself, and he really is. I really think that he is heavily inspired by Captain Hook. I haven't looked anything up because, don't want to see any spoilers. And And so I've just been kind of like, yeah, the hook hand and the crocodiles in the tank. He has like, it's just like everything is building to a head. We have, again, I think it's Kuzo has the rebel forces. The rebel army is about to attack the kingdom. And there's even, so the rebel forces are about to attack the kingdom. It's a ticking time bomb because Vivi is trying to stop that from happening. She doesn't want any bloodshed. She's got a really good heart. And meanwhile, everybody who can stop this from happening and chaos ensuing is essentially in Sir Crocodile's prison. So, and meanwhile, also it's kind of strange that like Captain Smoker is in there, and he has this, I don't know if it's like a sword. What did he call it? He called it a sea prism stone is embedded in like this rod that he has, and it basically works as like water hitting a devil fruit person and rendering them powerless. And so I thought that was kind of a neat little like world building moment, that there is this sea prism stone that can contain, it's like basically the kryptonite for the Supermans, but it's the downfall of the devil fruit eaters because it can keep them contained. And meanwhile, let's think, what happens? Miss All Sunday, she reveals like her devil fruit power, and it is actually flower fruit, and it means that like her body parts can duplicate. It's a weird one, but I'm like, Oda, you keep things interesting. And yeah, I don't know, like there's these moments where it just reminds me just how devilish, you know, these bad guys are. So Sir Crocodile is like, you know, Vivi really trusts you, and you know, he's like, but trust is overrated. And it really just builds, it's really building like his evilness, which is also like part of the fun of reading something like this, is that it's building to his, like, he truly is this embodiment of evil as far as we know. And, you know, he has terrible ideals, and we all, you know, we know, and it just confirms like how bad he is to say that trust is overrated. And so, oh gosh, and then like, yeah, he has the ability to turn things into mummies. He's just got this sand power, and it's terrible. Part of some like a ruse and like sowing confusion is that Bon Clay, I think it is, you know, pretends to be the king and is acting really odd, and the rebel leader is like, this is just so weird. You've been unapologetic about all of these things, and now have a total change of heart, which is weird. And it's just, it's, what are they doing? It's the Baroque Works doing what they're doing, in that they are creating chaos, and just like, yeah, they're creating chaos for it all. And that's been kind of interesting, like the way that they're kind of sowing all of this confusion and like really kind of fueling the fire of intensity for this story. Meanwhile, they have, so it was a ruse, it was a trick that the king was, you know, apologizing. But then also, meanwhile, the most random thing happened, but a ship crashes in the harbor. And it means that the rebels are now armed with all of the weapons from the ship that was crashed. And what I liked was that it was like, he was saying it's divine providence, which is a phrase that I have grown up hearing, in that it's like people saying it's a God thing, or it like God's in control. And it made me think, I know that y'all call him like Goda, the goat Oda, the greatest of all time Oda, like God Oda. Like, I know that y'all have like these, or like, you know, the community, the One Piece community has all these names for Oda. And part of it is like, in his playing of God and his puppetry of this world, you know, he can have these things happen, but it's also kind of meta that the characters will say it's a God thing, or it's a divine providence. Because it is a randomness. It's almost like a coincidence that you can't believe is happening, but it is happening because of the providence in the story, but it's Oda like pulling the strings. But then they're referencing it, which makes it feel more okay and more like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're all on the same page. We all know that Oda is pulling the strings. And so I quite like that. And meanwhile, the chaos, the death that's coming, that's like barreling towards Alabasta, the war that's coming, is exactly what Sir Crocodile wants. He wants there to be bloodshed. He wants them there. He wants like the slaughter, the butchering. He wants it all to happen. And it's like his goal. You know, I don't know. And meanwhile, I didn't forget, but like you're like, oh, the Straw Hats are captured, you know, and I don't always like account for each one, but Sanji and Chopper aren't there. And so yet again, the snail transponder, it happens, it rings, and Sanji gets to play some tricks on Sir Crocodile and Sanji, which is great because like Oda has given all of our characters, some of them at least, like little turns of phrases or little movements or little things that make us know that they are who they are. And so he, you know, when Sir Crocodile answers the snail phone, it's like restaurant le crap. And so it's like a little nudge to everybody who knows, like, that's Sanji on the phone. So Sanji's there, he's kicking butt outside of the headquarters of Sir Crocodile, like his kingdom castle thing. And he ends up tricking Sir Crocodile and thinking, you know, he's like, I'm caught. You know, we've caught Sanji, we've caught Mr. Prince. What do you want with him? And so Sir Crocodile is you know, coming out to kind of get his journey on the road, and you know, do with Sir Prince or Mr. Prince as what he will. But meanwhile, Chopper is like in disguise as Mr. Prince, and who is Sanji, and Sanji can like sneak into the kingdom, or into like the area, the headquarters, like Sir Crocodile's mansion, where all of our other Straw Hats are being held. And yeah, and so, you know, it kind of like goes back to like needing each other, needing people in certain moments, trusting one another, doing the right thing, working as a team, and that is just, you know, it's great. And then one of the most random things happens. Basically out of a crocodile is this ball of wax, which I didn't know, it just looks like a ball, and out comes Mr. 3. For when he was swallowed by a crocodile, he like used all of his energy to build a wax shell around him, and then he hung out into the belly of the crocodile until he was set free. Which was just like so random. And then I think it's his wax that he uses to turn into the key that they need. Like they duplicate the key, and they turn it, and then it's like they get the Straw Hats come out and they're free. But because of Mr. 3, who was like the nemesis of the Little Garden arc, which is so random the way that things have shifted. But now they have a common enemy in a way, because Mr. 3 was also trying to be killed by Sir Crocodile, and now he's, you know, trying to live. And so in a weird way, there's at least a small alliance between, I thought I was a goner for sure, I'm alive. No, yeah. There's now like a small alliance between Mr. 3 and the Straw Hats. So I wonder how many Baroque Works people might become Straw Hats or honorary Straw Hats. I don't know. But then, so let's see, amid all of this, Chopper gets this giant crab, this sand crab, because of the camel. It's so random. Like, the plot beats are so random sometimes that I'm like, okay, all I know, like, I'm not going to remember the details. The themes are what matter. I mean, the details are super fun, but I'm like, I can come back on a reread and we'll talk like super details. But again, the magic of like the animals and all of that are just amazing. And so there's this ginormous crab, and Vivi and the Straw Hats climb on, and Sir Crocodile is like, well, I'm ready to fight, basically. And oh, and also like there was this really cool moment in that they save Sir Chopper. They, you know, not Sir Chopper, Captain Chopper. Captain Smoke, not Chopper, what? Oh my gosh. the Straw Hats save Captain Smoker. And actually Zorro does specifically. And Captain Smoker's like, well, why did you do that? And he's like, Zorro's like, our captain said so. So Luffy was like, we gotta save that guy, even though he's after us, even though he might put us in danger and he wants to capture us and all this stuff. But I want to save him. So Zorro saves Captain Smoker. That's what I was trying to say. And then in turn, like Captain Smoker lets them go. And he's like, the one and only thing, the one and only time I'm gonna ever do this, and I'm going to let you free, even though technically like you should be under arrest for the Navy, under the guidance of the Navy. I'm gonna let that go, and I'm gonna let you go this one time. I'm gonna turn the other way. And it's like kindness begets kindness. I don't know, like it's just, that is just so sweet and it's so wonderful. So as Sir Crocodile, sorry, I feel very like, it's been tiring, and I'll talk about sort of my One Piece journey at the very, very, very end. So it says, now that the time has come, your time has come, Straw Hat. And that's Sir Crocodile talking to Luffy. And, you know, they're ready to fight, and he's basically the embodiment of sand and what sand does. He mummifies things. If Luffy tries to punch him, he just kind of falls apart. He turns into sand, you know? It's like you can't win against sand. He also can be sand storms. He is the one who has been, I think it's Kuzo, I'm pretty sure, who has been sending sandstorms to where Kuzo's father has been digging and has not even given up hope, even though he's been digging for water for years. And so he has been sending, Sir Crocodile has been sending sandstorms to that area for years, which is just terrible and cruel. Like, it's just a sense of cruelty. But also, like, he can be quicksand, and he can be a sand tornado. He can be these sand things, the thing that dries up water, the thing that is just bleh, just gross. And so Luffy's having a really hard time fighting Sir Crocodile. But the thing that really kind of surprised me in a way was kind of right before they get into this battle, Luffy says, Vivi's strength isn't in her muscles, it's in her heart. She's always, let me try that again. Vivi's strength isn't in her muscles, it's her heart. She's always trying to help others. She feels compassion for everybody, so she never stops fighting. She doesn't want a single person to get killed in this rebellion. And then basically Sir Crocodile sort of laughs in Luffy's face and says, you know, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And then as they're fighting, things aren't working. Things with Luffy aren't working. And then we see Sir Crocodile's hook go right through Luffy, and it goes right through his chest, and he's like this dead thing, this doll, I don't know, like someone who's not alive on his hook. And I just about lost my mind. I was like in shock for a minute. I don't know what to do. So I want to keep reading, but I wanted to do this check-in first, and I'm gutted. I can't like talk about it. I can't talk about it. Luffy is he's just so sweet. And I don't want anything to happen to him. And there's this logical side of my brain that is like, he's gonna be fine because he's the main character of our story, you know? And then there's another part of me that's like, I can't see him like that, you know? I can't, I'm too attached, and I don't want him in harm's way. So I stopped there per the advice, like I took the advice of a commenter who said that this would be a good breaking up point for like part 1 and part 2, because I'm a rambler and I don't want a 3-hour video. I mean, I can put them all together for y'all eventually and republish it as like a 3-hour video about Alabasta, and I've thought about doing that. But, you know, for now, I'm like, just keeping it to like 45 or 50 minutes or an hour and 10 minutes or something like that is more manageable to like edit and actually to condense into a manageable file and then to upload all of that. So I wanted to stop here at 178. This is just the weeds of things, you know. But yeah, also I wanted to say that these some of you are like, this isn't long, like the arcs, right? They're not that long. 60 chapters for me, I felt really daunted. I guess I'm like tears for Luffy. I don't know what's gonna happen next, and essentially that's done. So if you want to stick around just for like my feelings and video making and all that stuff about One Piece, then this is what it is. I feel slightly daunted a little bit about making a video that is making a video on like 60 plus chapters or even 50 plus chapters. I think my max is like 40 because I'm such a talker, and like the way that my processing is for One Piece, I'll talk and talk and talk because I like thinking about this kind of stuff. And I run into the weeds when it comes to wielding an elegant file that is not too big for my computer to handle. So as I get to longer arcs, and I think the dauntedness has actually prevented me from wanting to pick up One Piece ever so slightly. And I know it's natural to take breaks, and I know that there's nothing wrong with taking breaks or anything, but this story that gives me genuine pleasure, sometimes I find myself like, I don't know, because it's like, how do I start talking about something that is going to be what is going to be the beginning of like a 3-hour video? And sometimes I think it gets away from me a little bit, and I feel a little bit daunted. So if you all could help me out, and with maybe with longer arcs, like arcs that are longer than 40, like 50 chapters or more, longer than 50 chapters or longer than 49 chapters, if you could tell me like a good stopping point, if there is one, just in a comment, this is a good stopping point for this, then that would be really great. And I'm thinking about in the future, I can edit, once the video is uploaded and all of that, once it's in a cleaner file, I can stitch them all together. I could even do like East Blue, like 4 hours of talking about the East Blue. Is that right? East Blue, is that right? Anyways, I can even stitch together all of the videos in which I've talked about the first saga and take out all of my sort of intros and outros so that it's really just the meat of that saga, and it can just play in one long video, like 4 hours of talking about the first saga of One Piece. I can do that. And it would be, it would be like videos that you've seen before, but all in like one long continuous stream. I could do that, and it would be kind of like a playlist, but all in one video. And I was thinking about doing that for arcs that are longer that I film in portions and pieces. And I'm just wondering if you're following what I'm putting down, sort of stitching videos together so that it is all in one video for those who want one video, but in real time they go up at different days. That doesn't make any sense. Let me try this again. My camera only records in 30-minute bursts, and so I could see my timer going down. So as I'm reading it, I don't mind recording day after day after day, and then uploading it because it feels like it's like a project, it's done. So with this Alabasta arc, up to chapter 178, I'll feel like, okay, we're done. Like, we're done with this part 1 of Alabasta in my mind. And it's easier to then edit these clips and put them out to y'all. Then when I'm done with Alabasta, I can always, whether it be shortly or in the future, I can always stitch it together to make one Alabasta video that are like kind of combining 3 videos into one. And no new footage or anything, just kind of making it so that it is one condensed video rather than 3 separate videos that have 3 separate introductions and 3 separate outros. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does. And usually when I worry about this kind of thing, I'm actually more clear than I give myself credit for. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, will you let me know? So I'm just kind of sticking it in at the end, brainstorming about things that I can do for those who like everything to be in one long video. But in terms of just my footage, the project, reading lots and lots of chapters and having lots and lots of clips, it ends up being a huge project for both me, but also like on my spirit, and also just in terms of like equipment. My poor computer struggles when I start to put together things that are like far longer than an hour. Like when you get to an hour and 15 minutes, my computer just starts to struggle with that. So part of it is technical and part of it is like spiritual, emotional kind of thing, and like energy level and stuff and all of that. So if you are understanding what I'm saying and you have an idea one way or the other, let me know. You know, I'm totally willing to make playlists and all that. I just want it to be helpful and watchable for you. So, and I may just end up stitching it together and just putting it out there so that it's there for people who want this kind of content. Okay, that's it. My goodness, I've talked a lot. I cannot wait to see what happens. My heart is broken over Luffy. I don't know what to do except for to keep reading, and I'm so glad that I don't have to wait, y'all. Y'all are who are waiting week to week. Bless you. Bless you, because I would be in a tizzy right now if I had to wait another week, and possibly even more, because I don't know if we're going to get a resolution right away. I don't know, but it's a lot. Anyways, that's it. Hopefully the second piece of this arc will come up a lot faster than this first piece. Again, I've just been doing a lot of thinking about this space and what I'm doing and One Piece and how to get content out in a way. Not just the content, it's more about the logistics of this kind of work and, you know, figuring it out. So thank you for being here on this journey with me and listening to me ramble about logistics and such. And I just really appreciate y'all, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!